Pre-roasted. All right. Good job. Sunday waffle time. Just take one. Very good. Good girl. Jasmine. All right, queso. Good girl. Yes, good girl. Such a good girl. God, you're selfish. Oh, okay, so selfish. Oh, you're selfish. You're so vicious. Look at how vicious. It's like one big long dog over there with no head. Oh, there's the heads. What are you doing there, Shmeek? Good job.
Dead in his tracks, this godforsaken soul wanted here, and his curse lingers for years.
Okay, so background info. Hopper and Venkman over there. We got his puppies. Hopper's 4 and Venkman's 3. And then we fostered a whole bunch of dogs. If you go to the Twitter page, we have a moment that shows the dozen Goldens that we fostered. We got Maggie and Jasmine as a pair a little over a year ago, like November of 2016. They came together. Their previous owners had just moved and left behind in the yard, and eventually a neighbor found them and took them in, but she couldn't keep them. So we took them in, and they were our first real failed foster. Right now, Maggie's 10 and Jasmine is 11. And then Queso, if you're a new follower, we just got her in December. She's another foster. She lived in the backyard, slept in the garage, and her people got tired of her, and so they gave her up. She's 13. And yeah, we fostered her for a month, and we adopted her a couple weeks ago, and she's super happy about it. Right, Queso? So Hopper and Venkman are related. They are half-sisters. They have the same mom, different dads. I got Hopper as a puppy, and then a year later, the breeder said the mom was having another litter, and that's where Venkman came from. She was the runt of the litter. She weighed about half of what a normal puppy her age would weigh, which is probably why she's had all the problems that she has. Jasmine is my favorite, though Queso is creeping up in there, but I like Jasmine best because she seems always really happy to hang out with me, but not like because she needs anything from me, just because she really likes my company, which is pretty nice. And look at that face. Everyone's all very excited right now, right? Y'all want a snack? They're little snacks. There you go, Vink. All right. Queso. Hops. So the question is, does anybody do any tricks? No, none of them do tricks except for Hops. Hops loves to do tricks. In fact, when she was a puppy, we did a special tricks only class. So our favorite trick is that she knows how to fist bump. Bump me. Good job. She can sit up, like on her back legs, if Jasmine's not in the way. All right, ready? Sit up. Up. Good girl. That's very good. Hopper, touch. Touch is just our command to get her to come, which was the hardest thing to teach her. Hopper, touch. Can you spin? That's pretty good. I'll take a sit up. She does know how to spin around, but it's a little crowded with everybody else wanting snacks. All right, why Goldens is a question lots of you are asking. I'm sure part of it is that I grew up with Goldens. When I was born, we had a Golden who was a year older than me. And then most of the time, she died when I was like 9. And then we kind of always had 2 after that. So obviously they're great. But we did have a black lab once, and I've hung out with a lot of other dogs. But I like Goldens because they're like super affectionate and they're kind of goofy. They feel sort of like I would want to be if I were a dog. So I think they're great. I got nothing against other breeds, but the Goldens are definitely my favorite. All right, questions about the names. Jasmine and Maggie came with their names. We call Maggie Schmeeg because it just kind of evolved from Maggie. It was Maggles and then Meagles and then Schmeagle and then Schmeeg. Jasmine likes to do this thing with her head, by the way. Venkman is named after Bill Murray's character in Ghostbusters. I was little when that movie came out and it had a profound impact on my life. And I think it's hilarious every time I call her Venkman that's her name. Hopper is named after Grace Hopper. She was a rear admiral in the Navy in World War II and one of the first computer scientists. For those of you who are computer scientists, she invented the compiler. She's a total badass and you should look her up on Wikipedia, Grace Hopper. And then Queso was Casey when we got her. And we just started calling her Queso. And when we adopted her, we figured it would be great to change her name because she responded to Queso, and her previous people were obviously terrible, and so she deserved a fresh. All right, so questions for me. I'm using a filter after the neck shot from when I rescued that dog. So the big question y'all have for me is, like, have I been to whatever your country is? And if you're in Europe, I've been there probably. Lots of you from the UK, and I've been all over the UK a bunch of times for work stuff and some for vacation. I think I've been to all the countries in Western Europe and a good portion of Eastern Europe. I speak German pretty well, as you've seen on the snaps, and enough French and Spanish and Italian to get around and order food and ask directions. I've been to Canada a ton of times, and I love it, and I would totally move there if it weren't so cold. So if Canada could, like, colonize a Caribbean island and then put a bunch of Canadians down there, like, I would happily join and be one of your citizens. All right, how do we tell everybody apart? Here's a guide. This is Maggie. She has a totally white face, but the rest of her is brown. And she's got like a real dome-shaped head, a very round top of her head. So that's her. Jasmine, also brown with a white face, but her face is not as white as Maggie's. You can see she's still got some brown on her nose. Maggie, 100% white. Jasmine has some other brown on there. Jasmine also has like wavy ears, which is a good way to tell. And her face is narrower. She's also the only one who's the correct weight. They all eat the same, but Jasmine has a good metabolism. Hopper is a very good dog. Obviously blonde, but she has like super long fur on her ears. It actually comes past the end of her ear flap. So that's a good way to tell her from Venkman, because they obviously do look kind of the same. Vink, yes, you're very good, I love you. She has a kind of domey shaped head, smaller ears than Hops. She just is a little derpier looking, which I know is like not a great explanation, but it's true. Her head's a little bit smaller than Hopper's is. And then Queso and Maggie can definitely be hard to tell apart. because Queso also has a totally white face. But look, we got them right next to each other now. So Maggie is browner, Queso is blonde. Queso is also way, way bigger than Maggie. Maggie weighs like 65 pounds, and Queso weighs like 95 pounds. She's a really big dog. She does tend to look down a little bit more. But yeah, you'll start to see. She also has like a big square head. It's like a wider head, where Maggie has kind of a round dome. Queso's. All right, how do I deal with the fur, and can I wear black? Check out my current pant leg. No, I cannot wear black unless I have a bunch of lint rollers with me. I vacuum at least once a day, and really I should vacuum twice a day. It's the biggest issue about having this many dogs, is that there's fur everywhere. I've just kind of accepted it as part of my life and like a totally reasonable trade-off for how affectionate they are. We don't take them to a groomer. You don't have to get Goldens groomed, but we do brush them a lot. We have kind of a chaos form of brushing. Like, I'll just sit on the floor for an hour and I brush whoever's nearby, and they'll wander away, but someone else will come over. So we brush as much as we can because that keeps the fur down, but there's still fur everywhere all the time. How many is the most number of Goldens I would have? 4 is what I thought it was. And when they asked us if we would foster Queso, I talked to Golden Ratio Dad, my husband, and he's like, what difference does it make? And, I mean, she's great, and it's, like, amazing to have 5, but it's a little crazy and sometimes hard to manage because everybody kind of does their own thing. So I think we're at our upper limit now with 5. Lots of questions about carrots. We go through 1 or 2 carrots per dog, so 5 to 10 carrots per meal, so 10 to 20 carrots a day, every day. And I roast them for Queso because her teeth are ground down to little nubs. I don't know why, but she can't eat them when they're raw. But when they're soft and roasted, she likes them. All right, how did me and Golden Ratio Dad meet? A mutual friend kind of set us up, unbeknownst to me. We met at a hockey game. He had tickets to a Caps playoff game, and I wanted to go, and so I went, and we hit it off. That was like back in 2011, so it's been a really long time. We got married in 2014, and he's great. He embraces my dog craziness, and so Golden Ratio Dad, if you're watching, you're the best. Jasmine is my favorite, but Venkman is the Golden Ratio Dad's favorite. And the Golden Ratio Dad is Hopper's favorite, as you have probably seen. She likes him way better than me. I think all of them like him better than they like me, except for Maggie, who just likes everybody. He's not here as much as I am, so I think he's more exciting. We started Snapchatting the dogs, I think, because I had done a Snapchat takeover for We Rate Dogs, and a lot of people liked it, so we started our own. We get about 25 or 30,000 views per snap, and I probably get like 200 messages a day. I don't really count, but it's a lot. I try to respond to most of them, but especially like if I look at them when I'm going between like class and meetings and stuff, they disappear, and I don't have time to always respond, but I try to. All right, the dog's favorite TV show is Dog TV. I'm in like the on-demand, and if you go by network, there's Dog TV, and they have programs for dogs. I think we pay $5 a month to subscribe to this, but they're like 4-hour shows for dogs with like music and squeaky sounds and super saturated crazy colors. And they have like stimulation to get the dogs excited, which you can see works. So I put this on when I go to work, and it gives them some like entertainment for like 4 hours. They also have like relaxing stuff and soothing sounds. It's a little crazy, but as you can see, they love it. I'm a computer science professor. I am at the University of Maryland. My PhD's in computer science. I'm actually in the College of Information Studies, and I also have appointments in computer science and journalism. I study social media and artificial intelligence and privacy, and if you really want to know about what I can do, I did a TED Talk, and so you can swipe up and watch my 10-minute TED Talk and then see more of what I look like. Right, Maggie? You're making some sounds there. and learn about what I do. Good question. Do the neighbors complain about the dogs being too loud? They don't. I'm lucky that they actually don't bark that much. Like, you guys see them bark most of the times that they do. They tend to be pretty quiet, and I tend to shush them in case they get excited, but they're not huge barkers. The mailman or like UPS, they'll sometimes bark, but not just for no reason, so that's good. Family questions. Do we have any kids? No. You see my necklace? It says child-free. Never wanted any kids. Don't have any. Not gonna have any. Golden ratio, Dad does have a daughter from before we got married, and she's great, but she lives with her mom, and I see her like every couple months, and she's super nice, but I'm not her parent. We're not gonna have any kids. The dogs are plenty and what I want. What does my family think of me having 5 dogs? They think it's too many, but I don't care because it's awesome and wonderful and joyful and like the best. Ready for dinner? Okay. If I had to get a dog that wasn't a golden retriever, what would I get? Nova Scotia duck-tolling retriever, which I confess is just like a small red with white spots golden retriever. But they're a little bit smaller. They probably weigh like 40 or 50 pounds. They're adorable. I think they're so cute, and they're a lot like Goldens, but not quite as goofy. So if you made me give up my Goldens, that's probably what I'd go for. I don't know why they lick the lamp. I actually licked it once to see if it tasted like something, and it doesn't. So it's a complete mystery. Roasted carrot for you. All right. Oh, I help you out. There you go. Good job. Carrot. All right. Some of you asked how I found out they like carrots. I just give them all kinds of stuff to eat. Like, Maggie, do you like strawberry tops? Here's the answer is yes. So is it expensive? Kind of. We go through 1 bag of food a week, so it's like $250 a month. The flea and heartworm medicine is probably the most expensive thing because I think that's like $150 a month for all of them. And then it's not too bad. Like, the treats aren't super expensive. I sometimes make them myself. The really expensive thing is surgeries when they need it, which fortunately they haven't too much. But Vinkman had both of her elbows had surgery, and then she had 2 hip surgeries, including a total hip replacement. She has a titanium hip, all before she was a year old. And I think that cost us, it hurts me to sum it up, probably $25,000. That was painful. President of your fan club got you a present. Check that out. Oh, everybody's very interested.